Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Mailbag, the mailbag version of AMC Movie Talk, where all we do is take your movie mailbag questions. And by the way, if you've got a question or topics you'd like us to bring up in either AMC Movie Talk or AMC Mailbag, email those questions to us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. And that's how you get your questions sent in to us. Now, as you can see, I am not in any of the studios. I'm not quite back in Burbank yet, so I'm coming to you from a garage. I figured, you know what? Just because I'm not back doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about movies. So I set up the old webcam and cracked out the microphone, and we're going to talk movies today anyway. I'll be back in the studio again tomorrow. And now, you've also may notice, by the way, my name is John Campia. I'm the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, that I haven't been on AMC Movie Talk for the last week, and that's because I've been in Las Vegas at the annual CinemaCon convention, where I saw a lot of great stuff. And before we get into the mailbag questions today, and I've got about 6 of them pulled out that we're going to address, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that I saw that I was quite had an impact on me. For one reason or another. The first thing I want to talk about is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer. Now, it's come online now, so you can see it online. But when they showed it to us, I think, on Monday, so before it came out to the public. And I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people are saying they quite like the trailer. A lot of people are saying they really, really hate it. I'm going to say this about it. It was better than I thought it would be. Now you know, I've been very pessimistic. Those of you who watch AMC Movie News, you know, I've been pretty pessimistic about this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a long time. And I'm also pessimistic about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general. See, I'm not a fan, full confession, I'm not a fan of the skateboarding, cowabunga dude, let's eat some pizza Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am a fan of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Remember the black and white comic books that were dark and violent and just badass? I love those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I've said for a long time that what I really want as a fan is I want a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that's more of a reflection of those turtles as opposed to the cowabunga dude, let's eat some pizza and go surfing turtles. And when they played the trailer, the first impression I got was, to me, this felt like an attempt at a bit of a hybrid. The trailer to me at least suggested that the filmmakers are trying to give you the best of both worlds. There's certainly a bit of those cowabunga dude pizza eaters. You can see like, hey, look, it's cool. It's a mask. It's a mask. By the way, I kind of like that line. I thought that was funny. But at the same time, the design and the look of the turtles is much better than, it's probably everything I would have hoped for that these turtles would look like. They're big and powerful looking, and they're grittier. They're not clean, polished turtles. You know, I think they look pretty good. Did this face look a little bit like Shrek? Yes, a little bit of Shrek going on in there. But overall, I like the design, I have to admit. This whole notion, too, that Shredder has something to do, along with April O'Neil's dad, with the creation of the Turtles. Is that a departure from our traditional understanding of the Turtles? Yes, but I think it's quite interesting at the same time. Still not big on Megan Fox being cast in it. You know, Will Arnett actually came out on stage at CinemaCon to introduce the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing, and he was quite funny. He was on a Segway and doing a really funny bit, and I thought he was really good. But look, am I thrilled with the trailer? No. Am I falling over myself in excitement to see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? No. But as somebody who's been really skeptical, I got to tell you, it was better than I thought it would be. And I'm at least now interested. Like, long time not interested in seeing this movie. Now interested. So, I mean, if that's really the goal of a trailer, is to get people interested in seeing the film, then I have to tell you, honestly, for me, I know the cool thing to say is how much it sucks, but I got to be honest with you. I'll tell you if something is popular and I don't like it. I'll tell you if something's unpopular and I like it, because I'm always honest with you. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think it was all that bad, the trailer, and it's at least got me curious now, maybe even a little interested in seeing the movie. So there's that. The other thing that really stood out to me at CinemaCon, you know, let me say one other thing. They did show us maybe 10 minutes of the new Transformers film. And it was okay. It was okay, but you have to understand they had Mark Wahlberg was there on stage, and the other cast members were there on stage, and the 10 minutes they showed us were just all human centric, just all human centric. I don't even think the Transformers had any lines. I think Optimus Prime said one line, which was like, "Here I am." I think that's the only line. So I'm not sure that that's indicative of the movie, that it's just all 99% human focused. I don't think that's indicative of the movie. I think they just showed us all this human focused stuff because they're still working pretty hard on the effects. Actually, they showed us some scenes where there'd be like 20 television monitors, and all 20 television monitors were just green. So you could tell they didn't even put those in yet. So I have a feeling they just showed us human-centric stuff because the stars were actually there, so they wanted to show us their stuff. And I think a lot of the effects work is still not done. So they're working around the clock to get that ready. So I was not impressed with the new Transformers footage, but I say that understanding that they probably just showed us the human-focused stuff because the stars are there and the effects aren't done. I don't think it was really a good example or a good sample size of what we're going to get from the Transformers movie when it finally does come out. So I'll say that. But now let me get to the second thing that I said that really made an impression on me. At the Disney presentation, Alan Horn came out, said a couple of very interesting things, didn't give us anything new on Star Wars. I wish he had given us something, but they didn't. And he apologized for the Lone Ranger, which I thought was really kind of interesting. Just flat out admitted on stage. He said Lone Ranger didn't work. And it's kind of refreshing, I got to say. I put this up on Facebook and on Twitter. It's kind of refreshing to hear a Hollywood studio head come out and give that kind of honesty. I thought that was nice. But here's the thing that I really got excited about. Pixar's got a new movie coming out in 2015 that I'd only just barely heard about called Inside Out. A new Pixar film. And they showed us a 5 to 10 minute clip of it. I hadn't seen anything about it. And I'll be honest with you, other than having heard the title once or twice, I haven't seen anything. Not a sketch, not a drawing, not a description, nothing. I knew nothing about this movie. They played us a 5 to 10 minute clip of it. And it's hilarious. Hilarious. I was laughing my ass off watching this clip. Might be amongst the funniest stuff I've ever seen Pixar produce. Now, the whole idea of Inside Out, it's a story about this 11-year-old girl who just moved to a new city with her family. But the story's not really about her. It's about the 5 emotions that live inside her head that kind of govern her, So I believe the 5 were joy, fear, anger, sadness, and I can't remember the 5th one. But anyway, so there's 5 of them, and they're voiced by people like Amy Poehler from Parks and Recreation, Meredith from The Office, Mindy, who's from the Mindy Project and also from The Office, and a few other people. And I don't want to explain too much about it. I want you to see it for yourself when they finally release this clip, whenever they will, maybe 6 months from now. Just take my word for it that it looks completely outrageously hilarious. Now look, I liked Monsters University. I thought, while it didn't deserve to win the Academy Award, I thought Brave was okay. I thought Brave was pretty good. It was all right. But neither Monsters University nor Brave were at that level of excellence we have come to expect from Pixar. And I'm going to tell you right now, Inside Out looks like it is a return to that excellence. And I'm really excited for it. Sadly, it's not coming out until 2015, but man, that really stood out to me a lot. So, and a whole bunch of other stuff went down at CinemaCon. I'm sure you've read about a lot of it online by now and already. So anyway, with all that being said, we're already almost 10 minutes in the show and I haven't gotten to the first mailbag question yet. So let's do that. Let's get to the first mailbag question. And the first mailbag question today comes to us from Tim Childers, who writes, "Hey guys, I was wondering, is there any chance that a Futurama movie could be made? It is one of my favorite shows ever, and I find it incredibly witty and heartwarming at the same time. I know you say that shows usually wouldn't do well as movies because the lack of viewers, but since it was an animated film, could it be done relatively cheaply? Anyways, keep up the great show." Well, thanks a lot, Tim. And, here's the thing. You got to look when considering, can a film be made out of an old TV show? One of the first things you got to look at was, well, what are the ratings of the TV show? how many people watched the TV show, because you know that your most likely audience to go and see it and pay for a movie ticket and go see it in theater is going to be people who watch the show. And way back in the day, back in the early 2000s, Futurama, could get anywhere like around, I think it averaged around 6 million viewers, which isn't too bad. But the reality is in the last couple of years that it was on, and that it's on, it's drawn under 3 million viewers, closer to 2.5. Now, the thing I always say is this, is that, look, can you reasonably expect, let's assume for a second that every single person that watched the TV show, every single person, which they won't, but let's assume they will for a second, that every single person in the world who watched Futurama goes to see that movie. Well, at about 2.5 million viewers, that means maybe, if you're lucky, you'll get $25 million. That won't cut it in today's kind of world. Now, you could bring up the whole issue about it being animated. And yeah, it's an animated film, and animated films can often do a lot better than you were expecting, which is, usually pretty good. But the thing about Futurama is that while it is an animated film, you can't expect the same kind of, benefits that another animated film would have, because Futurama is not a kid-friendly animated film. I mean, if you turned it into a film, Futurama isn't exactly kid-friendly. It's not something, you never underestimate the power of an animated film at the box office, but at the same time, if it's not an animated film that parents can bring their kids to, which is where you're going to get a lot of your money, then you'll lose that advantage. And that advantage is gone. I don't know a lot of parents. I'm sure some would, but I think in generally speaking, not a lot of parents are going to bring their kids to go see a Futurama movie. The other thing to keep in mind is this, is that they've already made several straight-to-DVD and straight-to-home video movies. And once a property kind of gets into that ballpark of making straight-to-home video and straight-to-DVD, straight-to-Blu-ray, it's really difficult, if not impossible, for them to make the jump to the big screen. So look, while I think that a Futurama movie could be really funny and could be really fun to watch, I don't think there's a business model or a business plan you could put in place that would suggest that the studio would make its money back, unless you made it really, really cheaply. But then once you make it really, really cheaply, are people going to go see it? And I think it would be a real struggle. So would I like a Futurama movie? Yep, I would go see it. Personally, I would be there. But I think it'd be very difficult for a lot of people to get a lot of people out, especially, the whole animated but can't bring your kids to it sort of thing. It makes it a challenge. All right, that's just my opinion, though. Let us know what you think. If you guys have a different opinion or a different thought, or maybe a point that I'm, not really thinking about right now, jump in the comments section, leave your thoughts, and share it with the rest of us. All right, the next topic up today, and mailbag question, comes to us from Ian Adams. And Ian Adams writes, since Shaliene Woodley is now in a big young adult trilogy, of course she stars in the new Divergent film and the upcoming sequels, do you think that it will overshadow her role in The Fault in Our Stars and any other movies that she stars in? Thanks a lot for the email, Ian, and you raise an excellent question. Shaliene Woodley, who is, of course, currently cast to be Mary Jane in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. She shot her scenes for Amazing Spider-Man 2. They decided to edit it out because it wasn't the right time to bring in Mary Jane yet. She's still technically on, but I have a feeling with the success of Divergent, we're probably going to have to see another Mary Jane in the new Spider-Man films. But that's besides the point. So the question is, with Divergent now being a big hit, and her having this big young adult trilogy going on, will that overshadow this really nice piece of a film she's got coming called The Fault in Our Stars, where she plays a terminal patient, and which looks really good, by the way, the film. Will it overshadow that film? Well, I don't think it will. As a matter of fact, I think today, if you were to go and talk to the producers of Fault in Our Stars and say, are you happy that Shailene has a hit now in Divergent, or sad that she has a hit in Divergent? They're going to tell you that they are thrilled, because now Shailene, the star of their movie, has a bigger spotlight. Shailene having a big hit on her hands with one film is not going to hurt her other films. If anything, it is going to help her other films. And the producers of those other films are thrilled. Now, is that a rule? if an actor is in one hit film, then the next film will be a hit too? Absolutely not. We've seen it many, many times that is not the way it works out. But her having a big hit that a lot of people like in no way hurts these other smaller films that she had, because now more of a spotlight will be on them. So I think Shailene's got a really bright future. I think she's a very good young actress. I loved her in The Descendants. I thought she was really solid, and acting alongside a guy like George Clooney, and very obviously holding her own in that performance with George Clooney, I think speaks volumes about her. I think she's going to be great. I think she's going to be a solid A-list name in the next 5 to 10 years. And for right now, this is good. And for a film like Fault in Our Stars, trust me, I think that the success of Divergent is going to do nothing bad for Fault in Our Stars or other smaller films she does. I think the producers are going to be thrilled. All right, let's move on to the third question today. And the third mailbag question today comes to us from Harry Maria, who writes, "Hey AMC Movie Theaters, I love the show. My question has to do with actor Thomas Jane. He's always been one of those actors who never got much shine, but always stood out to me in everything he's played. I even enjoyed him in the Punisher film, and I think he's definitely versatile enough to deserve some recognition. Why do you think he never broke out and became a big star?" Well, Harry, I mean, I gotta ask you, what's your definition of a big star? I mean, the very fact that you can ask, hey, what about Thomas Jane? And we all know who you're talking about. I mean, he's a star. Now, is he an A-list Hollywood star? No, clearly not. But, I mean, he's done The Punisher. He had his own lead in that movie, remember The Mist? Which I didn't love The Mist. I'm not even sure I liked The Mist, but I gotta say, I thought he was quite good in it. I thought his little part in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where he played the vegan police, I thought it was just a tiny spot, but I thought he was hilarious in that. That, Punisher Laundry Day short video he's got on YouTube was really great. And let's not forget, he had a 3-year lead show just recently with Hung, his own show that lasted 3 seasons. So he's successful. He's successful. And he's got another movie coming out here with John Cusack pretty soon called, what's it called? Drive Angry. It's either Drive Angry or Drive Hard. Drive Hard is called. He's got that new movie coming out with John Cusack pretty soon as well. So he's doing pretty well. Okay, so the question is, why didn't he elevate to become that A-list status? I don't know. I mean, let's be honest though, very few people do. Very few. And because elevating to that A-list status takes a combination of things besides, number one, unbelievable talent. But number two, then having the a couple of right roles for you that really let you highlight your talent. And then a couple of hits. I mean, you put all those 3 things together and suddenly you'll have an actor performer that's elevated to A-list. I mean, let's look at Jennifer Lawrence. She, number one, showed off the talent in Winter's Bone. Not a huge film of popularity, though, but then she also did X-Men and obviously Hunger Games. So it was a combination of a bunch of things for Jennifer Lawrence that really elevated her to now that she's A-list status. And I don't think Thomas Jane, while I believe he's got the talent, but then again, a lot of people in Hollywood have the talent. While Thomas Jane has the talent, I don't think he's ever had that one role that really let him showcase what he can do, combined with a big, massive hit. Just that perfect storm of things never seemed to come together for him. But he is talented enough that he has had a successful and continues to have a successful working career. I remember he was actually wanting to play Jonah. I was going to say Jonah Hill. He didn't want to play Jonah Hill. He wanted to play Jonah Hex in that Jonah Hex movie that Josh Brolin played in. Awful, terrible, disgustingly bad movie that could have been so cool. Jonah Hex could have been a really cool movie. And wouldn't have been any better with Thomas Jane in it because the script was still the script, the story was still the story. But I just remember him even putting together pictures of himself in a Jonah Hex outfit and really wanting that role. And it was really a shame he didn't get it because I thought he would have been pretty cool for that role myself personally. But he's got the talent, and I'm with you. I like watching him and stuff. I think he's really good. He just needs that opportunity that never really came. But once again, don't sell short just because he's not A-list status that he has not had and continues to have a successful career, and he does, and we'll continue to get to enjoy him in the future. And by the way, if you haven't seen that Dirty Laundry or Laundry Day Punisher short film that he made for YouTube, look it up. It's really fun. All right, the fourth question today comes to us. Oh, we've already done Harry, and that's the third question. This is the fourth question today. Comes from Margaret Borthwick. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Margaret. Who writes, I have a question for all of you to answer. Why did the Avengers make so much money? Captain America made 370 worldwide. Thor made 450 million worldwide. The Incredible Hulk made 250 million worldwide. And the two Iron Man movies roughly made 600 million each worldwide. Why did the Avengers Assemble make 1.5 billion worldwide? Did not all the fans from each of the movies come together to see it? I thought that the audience of all the MCU films would have been the same. No, I'm puzzled by this. Please help me to understand. Well, that's a good question, Margaret. I mean, because I've said this for a very long time. Some people would say to me, oh my gosh, Marvel should pay Sony $3 billion and get the rights to Spider-Man and put Spider-Man in the Avengers. Can you imagine how much money that would make? And I keep trying to get people to understand that if you put Spider-Man in the Avengers doesn't make $1 more. Or say in the Avengers 2 or the Avengers 3. You put Spider-Man in Avengers 2, it's not going to make $1 more than it would have. Why? Because I don't know a single person who saw Spider-Man that didn't see the original Avengers. And I'm willing to bet you probably don't know anybody either. I mean, maybe some of you do, and I'm sure they exist. But on a grand scale, I literally don't know a single human being in my life that did see a Spider-Man movie in theater, but did not go to see the Avengers in theater. Therefore, everybody who's interested in seeing Spider-Man are going to see the Avengers anyway. It's not adding a single dollar to the Avengers 2 box office. So if you're Kevin Feige and saying, okay, we could make the Avengers 2 without Spider-Man, and we know it's going to make $1.5 billion worldwide. Or we could pay Sony $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion, whatever number of billions of dollars, get Spider-Man back, and put him in Avengers 2, and still have Avengers 2 make $1.5 billion. Because everybody who's gone to see Spider-Man and everybody who's seeing Spider-Man is going to see Avengers already anyway. It's not going to make us $1 more, but it's going to cost us hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars to do it. Yep, that would be pretty stupid. And that's why you're not going to get smart people like a Kevin Feige or whatever to do that. Now, with that being the case, you raise a really interesting question. Well, how did Avengers then make $1.5 billion when none of the individual Marvel films saw that much box office? I mean, the Iron Man films topping out around $600, $700 million. Why is that the case? Well, because I think it's a little bit different. I can't say that everybody I know who saw Iron Man also saw Captain America. I can't say that. I know several people who never saw the original Captain America in theater. They were captivated by the idea of the first Iron Man. They weren't so captivated by the idea of Captain America at first, and they didn't go to see the original Captain America. I know a lot of people who have seen Avengers but did not see the original Thor. I know a lot of people. I mean, so that was a little bit different. And then the Avengers came along, and the Avengers had a couple of things going for it. Number one, it was a massive event film in the sense that it was bigger than the sum of its parts. Avengers was a movie that wasn't just Iron Man plus Thor plus Captain America plus Hulk. It was bigger than the sum of all of its parts. It was a major event film. So you had a lot of people going to see Avengers that were not necessarily interested in going to see the individual hero films to start with. So there was a broader mass appeal there for something like Avengers. So you had a lot of people going to see the movie that didn't see Iron Man in theater, that didn't see Captain America, that didn't see the Incredible Hulk, that didn't see Thor. But they went to go see the Avengers because it was a bigger mass event film. And frankly, you can watch, I know a lot of people watched Avengers having never seen any of the other ones, and it totally made sense. And it's not like you felt left out or anything by that. So that was good too. But one of the bigger reasons, and this is the biggest reason, that we saw the Avengers make so much money. The Avengers made so much money because everybody went to go back to theater, see it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. It's in my opinion, and there's great debate to be had, in my opinion, the Avengers is the greatest comic book film ever made. Now, it's apples and oranges compared to some other comic book films, sure, granted, but for me, overall, when you take everything into consideration, Avengers is the best comic book movie ever made. Just my opinion. Other people have different opinions. My opinion is no more, no less valid than yours, but that's just my opinion. But the fact that it was so excellent, not only did people flock to see it in huge numbers because it was this big event film, The Avengers, but they also kept going back again and again and again. And when they would go back again and again and again, they were dragging other friends with them who had never seen Iron Man and never seen Thor and say, look, it doesn't matter. I know you weren't interested in seeing Thor, the long-haired dude with the hammer. I know you weren't interested in that, but you're coming with me. I saw Avengers, one of the best movies I've ever seen. You got to come with me to come see this. And they would drag friends back to go see it. And you don't get to $1 billion at the box office just by getting everybody to go see your movie. You get to $1 billion at the box office by everybody going to see your movie and then going back again. And it's the repeat viewing. They want to see it over and over again. That's how you get to the 1.5, $2 billion range. Those films are the ones that make that kind of money. So while people really like the first Iron Man, and a few people went back to see it twice, a lot of people like Captain America, a lot of people like Thor, and they'd go see it, maybe go see it twice. Avengers was just a real special film that not everybody obviously, but that a lot of people would go back 4 times to go and watch in theater. I know I saw it about 7 times in theaters while it was playing. I loved it that much. I had that much fun with it. So that's why, adding a Spider-Man to an Avengers 2 wouldn't have made Avengers $1 more, but why the Avengers as a collective was able to make so much more than the sum of its parts. Anyway, that's the way I see it. If you have another theory, once again, your opinion is no more or less valid than mine. Leave your theory in the comment section below. All right, let's move on to the 5th question today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 5th. The 5th question today comes to us from Jeremy Stokes. And Jeremy Stokes writes in and he asks, why are comic book fans so hypocritical? In the comics, characters are constantly reimagined or messed with. So is canon and continuity. However, as soon as the movie makers make one little change to any aspect of a character or storyline, all hell breaks loose amongst the fan community. I noticed so much of this with Man of Steel. More than most. Thanks. Well, Jeremy, I don't think you're wrong, but first of all, let me say this. I don't think you're using the word hypocrite right. I think a hypocrisy or a hypocrite would be the wrong term to use for this. I think inconsistency is better for this. Like, hypocrisy would be me saying, don't eat strawberry ice cream. You are bad, bad, bad and filthy if you eat strawberry ice cream. Then the moment I think nobody's watching, I go and I eat strawberry ice cream. That's hypocrisy. But hypocrisy is not just inconsistency. Inconsistency is something different. Like I could say, I don't like strawberry ice cream. And then one day while traveling to San Diego, I try some strawberry ice cream and I say, actually, that's pretty good. That doesn't make me a hypocrite. That just means I'm a little bit consistent. One day I said, hey, one day I'm saying I don't like strawberry ice cream. The next day I'm saying, hey, I kind of like that strawberry ice cream. That's inconsistency. That's not hypocrisy. Hypocrisy was when you deliberately preach against something. Not something you liked or didn't like, but something you preach against. You say, this is bad and wrong to do, and then you do it yourself. That's hypocrisy. It's a terrible thing. A little Sunday school for you. Jesus himself said the worst of anything was his gave a hard time. He never gave a hard time to the gay community. He never gave a hard time to most people, but he gave a hard time to religious hypocrites. That's what he gave. The hypocrisy is different than inconsistency. All right. So let's say, why are comic book fans? Let's not ask why are comic book fans hypocrites. Let's ask why are comic book fans inconsistent. when it comes to this issue about, oh my gosh, they changed this from the comics. How dare they? When in reality, the comics themselves made 50 different changes. There's a great story when Superman Returns, the one with Brandon Routh, was coming out. Bryan Singer, the director of Superman Returns, and by the way, I just watched X-Men 2 again yesterday. F me. That movie is so frickin' good. X-Men, if you haven't watched X-Men 2 in a while, watch it again. I am very comfortable saying it's one of the 3 best comic book movies ever made. Maybe 4, but I feel pretty comfortable saying 3. Watch X-Men 2 again. It's so good. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, Bryan Singer is at Comic-Con, and he brings Superman Returns to Comic-Con. And one of the reporters, he's doing like this press conference thing, and one of the reporters, somebody asks him, why did you decide to change the Superman costume? And Bryan Singer gave a brilliant answer. He looked at them and said, well, which Superman costume are you referring to? There have been like 17 different variations and incarnations of the Superman costume in the comics. So change from which one? Which one are you talking about? And basically Bryan Singer just made the point you made exactly. That in the comic books, they change everything all the time. Nick Fury is black. Nick Fury is white. This dude came from this city. Now he comes from that city. These 2 guys are brothers. Now in this other movie, they're not brothers. Or this other comic book, they're not brothers. This guy's from Planet M. Now he's from Planet W. There is so much inconsistency within comic books themselves. They change things and freshen things up and take things in new directions. That I do think it's unfair for comic book fans to then complain when a movie does the same thing. When a movie says, okay, Fantastic Four has made 20 different course changes in its life. We're going to deviate a little bit too for the sake of the storytelling and for the sake of the story we're trying to tell. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've always just simply said this. Just don't change the key essential things that make that character who they are. Just don't change that. Everything else, I don't care about hair color, unless a superhero is called Blondie McBlonde Man, and then you change his blonde hair to, purple. That's kind of stupid. I mean, that's a pretty... Blondie McBlonde Man having blonde hair is a pretty key essential thing to who Blondie McBlonde guy is. Don't change it, for heaven's sakes. Leave Blondie McBlonde Man alone with his blonde hair. I mean, that would be kind of... Like Black Panther, making him some, white French dude. That kind of goes against the core essential nature of who Black Panther is. Don't do that. Now, take Perry White in Superman and make him a black man instead of a white man. What does that change about the core essential element of Perry White? Nothing. Didn't change a thing about the core essential nature and element of who Perry White is. Didn't change a damn thing. The same thing you would say of Kingpin. Making that change did nothing about changing, the nature and the core of who that character was. I mean, you can have your other complaints about those movies or those characters, but you can't make the complaint that, because that guy's skin was dark instead of light, it changed our whole understanding of who the character is. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. So I don't care about making a white dude black, making a Chinese guy a French guy, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, because most characters, it doesn't matter. Some characters it does. And I'm just like, hey, just try to be consistent with those. But like costume changes, Wolverine doesn't wear the yellow spandex in the X-Men film. Thank God that he didn't. But all these types of changes, some comic book fans will really get their backs up and say, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. But you raise a great point. Then you can just respond to them and saying, well, they changed it 15 times in the comic books. For heaven's sakes, because it's not important. It's not important. And sometimes it is. And we have the right to be upset about something or not, and that's cool too, but just, take all the things in consideration when you're thinking about it. All right, let's move on to the final question today. And the final question today comes to us from Michael Shepis. I hope I'm saying your name right, Michael, who writes, greetings and salutations, AMC. Love your show so much. It always makes my day. Thanks a lot, Michael. My question is this. I always have mixed feelings about 3D films. Sometimes I think the effect adds a lot in cases like Avatar and Gravity, but often I feel it's just unnecessary and distracting from the movie itself, particularly with 2D films being converted later to 3D. Do you think 3D is the future of all movies, just a passing fad, or will it always be a mix of some films in 2D and some films in 3D? Thanks a lot for the question, Michael. AMC is not going to like what I'm about to say, but you know, I always got to give you my honest opinion. And my honest opinion is I personally don't like 3D. I don't. Whenever I have the option, a practical option of, hey, I got 2 showtimes of this movie, 300 say, one in 3D, one not in 3D, I will always take the not in 3D option. I don't like 3D. I've had a couple of films where I saw something first in 3D, like Avatar, for example, right? And I saw Avatar in 3D and I went, wow, I really enjoyed that, and it was 3D. Wow, maybe my mind is changing about 3D. But then I watched Avatar again at a later date, not in 3D, and I realized I liked it every bit as much as I did when I watched it in 3D. So did 3D really add anything for me? No. Same thing happened with Gravity. I saw Gravity in 3D the first time I saw it, and I was like, whoa, like Gravity in 3D, cool. Then I watched Gravity again, and it wasn't in 3D. I'm like, that didn't take away anything from my experience watching it in 2D instead of 3D. Not a thing. So really, did it make any difference? And to me, no. 3D adds nothing to me. The worst example of 3D I ever had was I went to see a press screening for the original Thor film. And I loved it, but it was in 3D. And this just kind of highlights the thing. You know, filmmakers go through so much effort, and cinematographers and art designers, to make these bright, vivid, colorful images and put them on screen for us to watch and enjoy. And what's the first thing we do when we walk in the theater? Put tinted film over our eyes. Desaturates the brightness, kills the color, all this kind of stuff. And I find after about 5 minutes, I just want to take the damn glasses off. Now, let's go back to strawberry ice cream. I know a lot of people love strawberry ice cream. And even though I don't, I'm a vanilla guy. I like vanilla. I like chocolate. I like cookies and cream. I like cookie dough ice cream. But I do not like strawberry ice cream, all right? But I still celebrate that strawberry ice cream is out there for the people who do enjoy strawberry ice cream. Because it's all about me wanting people to enjoy themselves and enjoy their ice cream. And if they get enjoyment out of strawberry ice cream, then I want strawberry ice cream out there so people can enjoy it. And I feel kind of the same way about 3D. 3D isn't for me. You know, I'm just one of those guys. People don't like it. I'd rather avoid it. I won't not go see a movie because it's in 3D, obviously. So it doesn't bother me all that much. But all things being equal for me, I prefer 2D over 3D. But I know there's a lot of people out there who really love the experience of 3D. And so I celebrate that it's out there. I love that that option is out there for people, for them to go and enjoy the movie the way they like enjoying their films. And if just that doesn't mean I have to. So it's all great. As far as do I think it's the future of movies? No. I remember a few years ago at CES, the whole talk was 3D televisions. It's all going to be about 3D televisions. And you remember that just a couple years ago? And this whole slew of new 3D TVs came out, and they were going to be the next big thing. Nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted them. They sold very, very few. And now you see hardly any 3D TVs available. And rightfully so. Now, an argument can be made that maybe just the technology wasn't quite ready yet and all that kind of stuff. Hey, who knows what the future holds? Who knows what the future holds? Do I think 3D, do I agree with James Cameron when he says 3D is the future? Soon it's going to be on every movie, just like color is now on every movie when it used to be black and white. No, I don't agree with him about that. But is it just a passing fad? No, I don't think it's just a passing fad either. I think 3D is here. I think to one degree or another, it will always have a place in cinema because I believe there are new technologies to make it better. I believe there's an audience out there who wants it, and it should be given to them as an option. So the future movies, no. Passing fad, nah, not that either. I think it'll always be around one way or the other. And while it may not be for me, I know there's a lot of people it is there for, and I'm glad that they have the option to watch stuff like that the way they want to see it. Well, folks, that'll do it for me. I am all out of questions today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're almost at the 40-minute mark. So great to be back in the saddle again and be back doing AMC movie news because I was gone all week and I'm not used to being gone that long. Thanks a lot for joining us. Listen, guys, some great films, including some 3D ones, playing at an AMC theater near you. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. Listen, do us a favor. Click the thumbs up button there. It really kind of helps us out and shows that you support the show. But also, if you haven't done so already, click subscribe. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. And listen, become an evangelist for AMC Movie News. Ride with the Sons of AMC. Share this video on your Facebook or on Twitter or whatever. And make sure your friends know about, hey, if you're a movie fan, there's a place where we talk about movies every single day. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. I can't wait to be back in studio again on Monday, but I'll be back again tomorrow for another mailbag. So, and I think I'll be back in Studio B by then instead of in a garage. So thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.